expected to seek out the best. 2 words to describe the activity.
The Yoruba Unity Forum is conducted.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa.
Presidential
We break the news.
Women in Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV Primetime
Our
News.
24-hour news station.
It's indeed a beautiful day we have here in Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria, and thank you for joining us on Core Digest today. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Alright, let me start by saying congratulations to you. An African proverb says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. So you can still make it happen. It doesn't matter what date it is. It doesn't matter how many days we have left before the end of the year. You can make it happen for you if you truly wish. Well, the good news for us at the Core TV News is that your favorite 24-hour news station has been nominated in this year's Nigerian Broadcasters Merit Award in certain categories. And of course, if you are willing to vote for us, and I know you would want to do that, all you need to do is log on to www.nbma.linkedlist.us, and I believe that's showing on your screen right now. www.nbma.linkedlist.us. Now when you get to that page, just sign in with your email to access that page, and of course you'll be able to vote for us in 3 categories. The first category is category 14, the best newscaster TV male. That's on category 14. You'll find the name of that caster last on that list and Core TV right in front of it. And the second category, I believe, is category 22, where Core TV News has been nominated as the best news coverage or something. I'm sure that's shown on your screen. Can I quickly look at it now? Best coverage of news story. Yes, on category 22. And of course, on category 30, Core TV News has also been nominated as TV station with best innovation. So we'd love you to log on to www.nbma.linkedlist.us, and you can do that right away now. You'll log in with your email address. A link will be sent to that particular email. So all you need to do is, after you've typed in your email, go back to your email inbox and open up the link that is being sent to you, and via that you can check all the categories and vote for Core TV News on category 14, category 22, and category 30. All right, let's kickstart with what is news this morning. When Right Honorable Aminu Waziri Tambuwa defected from the PDP to the APC, many said it is the worst kept secret in the political history of Nigeria. So when Mr. President officially and formally declared his intention to rerun in 2015, many are now describing it as a very open secret that has just gotten official. Well, good news for the PDP and the lovers of Mr. President as he declares to run again in Abuja yesterday amidst cheers from thousands of supporters and as well as followers. Senators and governors are under the platform of the PDP put aside their differences yesterday to rally around Mr. President, and indeed saying, "Dance on, Mr. President. We are behind you, and we're going to make it happen for you." Good thing about Mr. President's speech yesterday was the way he started. And he says that in his election season, he appeals to all of his supporters not to harm, maim, or kill, and not to incite violence of any kind. Now he says, and I quote him now, "We must never forget our common bond, one people from the womb of one Nigeria. Again, I say, my ambition to serve you is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. I remain committed to this principle of non-violence." Okay, so he is saying that no one should shed blood on his behalf, and that indeed he is ready to log on to non-violence mode of electoral process come 2015. Well, it also says that the Almighty God has made it possible for him to develop a bond with the Nigerian people, and he is grateful for their support and understanding. So with much consultation with God and family members, Mr. President says he has accepted the clarion call by millions of Nigerians calling on him to run again for a second time. And then it went on and on to talk about his achievements in the past few years, and it spanned from power to transportation. Of course, he talked a lot about the power sector reform, which he says has been a major focus area of his administration. He says that the power sector reform, to this point, that they have pursued it rather to this point of irreversible progress, and Nigeria has undertaken a most transparent and corruption-free bidding process, attracting global commendation, and as well as referring to the ongoing 450 megawatts Azura power plant in Edo State as a testimony of the success of its transformation agenda. So it goes on and on like that. Privatization of the power sector, all of this would impact on much more power for Nigerian people. Not quite a number of people would agree with Mr. President, though, as regards the present situation of power in Nigeria. But Mr. President is hopeful that they have kickstarted a very vital working system that will give birth to a better power supply in Nigeria. He also made mention of the water sector. He says that in the past 3.5 years, the water sector has indeed witnessed unprecedented improvement, of course, in the access to potable water by Nigerians. It came about with some figures as well, where he said that access to potable water is now 67%, up from 58% in 2010. And it really amazes me because I have a copy of a speech right here, quite a number of pages. I could not even read through all, but it's indeed amazing to know that Mr. President has documented here many and lots of achievements in his administration. So where did the idea come from that Mr. President didn't do anything? Well, I don't know where you got your idea from, but I think you should check up his speech and find out the many things he said that he has done. I leave that for you to judge. He also talked about roads. Oh, let me start with the railway transportation, which he says that has enjoyed a landmark achievement during his administration. Before the advent of his administration, Mr. President said the railway system was practically dead, but that today it's been revived, and he made mention of certain rehabilitation ongoing, and it goes on and on like that. He also touched on roads, and this is the most interesting part of his speech. He says that when he assumed office in 2010, that out of the 35,000 kilometers of federal roads nationwide, only about 5,000 kilometers were motorable, and today Mr. President says the number has increased to about 25,000 kilometers. So from 5,000 to 25,000 kilometers out of 35,000 kilometers of federal roads in Nigeria. And he's expecting to complete the remaining 10,000 kilometers 3 years while initiating new ones. Well, you are Nigerians, and you can decide if that is true. If indeed we've had a more than 100% development on road infrastructure within the country. We've also touched on airports, on housing policy to kickstart the framework for providing more affordable homes for the Nigerian people, the infrastructural development taking place at the FCT. But beyond it all, one of the many things that many would love to hear from Mr. President was the issue of security. And he didn't shy away from it. He actually kickstarted his speech by making reference to what he referred to as Dastardly Act by the Boko Haram sect. And he also says that it is very sad that only yesterday, he said this yesterday, that Government Science Secondary School in Yobe State was bombed by insurgents, killing our promising young children who were seeking education to build the country and support their parents. Now, he says many Nigerians have lost their lives and property to these mindless killings. And Mr. President says, I quote, "Let me crave the indulgence of all present here to stand up to observe a minute silence in honor of these young lads who lost their lives. All right, let's just hear a little brief, just an excerpt of most of the things that Mr. President touched on yesterday at his re-election speech right there at the Eagle Square in Abuja.
Some parts of my dear country. One day yesterday, Government Science Secondary School in Yobe State was bombed by insurgents. Clearly, it has cast a dark cloud on our nation, but we will surely win the war against terror. Okay. The number of young men and women have been kidnapped by these criminal elements, including our daughters from Chibok. We will surely get our daughters free. We must defeat terror. We are equipping the armed forces and deploying special forces this time to engage the terrorists and make this senseless war. We must protect our country. We must save our people. And we will do everything humanly possible to end this criminal violence in our nation. To ensure the long-term stability and development of the affected areas, the government has launched 3 programs. The Presidential Initiative for the Northeast, the Victim Support Fund, and the Safe School Initiative. The Presidential Initiative for the Northeast focuses on improving infrastructure and economic growth in the region. The Safe School Initiative is centered on creating a safe environment to encourage our children in the communities to acquire education.
I will do everything humanly possible to ensure that I put an end to this criminal violence in our nation. That's exactly what Mr. President is saying. Quite very affirmative, quite sure, speaking tough on national TV yesterday that indeed Boko Haram cannot win this war against Nigeria. Now, much asked question in many quarters, especially within concerned Nigerians, is what exactly is Mr. President doing as regards the insurgency and terrorism in Nigeria? And you heard him talk about 3 particular programs: the Presidential Initiative for Growth in the Northeast, as well as the Safe School Initiative, and he also mentioned the Victim Support Fund, a partnership with the private sector which has raised about 60 billion naira, and he says it will help to empower and rehabilitate victims of terror. Of course, NEMA said recently that over 650,000 Nigeria are presently internally displaced. That's just within the shores of the country. And earlier also we reported about the welfare and the state of life of these Nigerians. Well, with this 60 billion naira, we are hopeful that education wouldn't be a concern to internally displaced children, that health and indeed food and shelter shouldn't also be a concern to this many of them. Quite a number of people also spoke at this re-election, this particular re-election campaign, or how do we put it now, that took place at the Eagle Square in Abuja yesterday. PDP governors were led by their chairman, who also doubles as Akwa Ibom State Governor Godswill Akpabio, who actually said that PDP would win the presidential election, but was also mindful to recall that the road to the 2015 victory would not be smooth. But he was affirmative, saying the PDP would win 30 out of the 36 governorship seats. Quite amazing how politicians can predict what the outcome of elections would be long time before it happens. He said, and I quote him, "Mr. President, we know that the route to the 2015 election is not going to be very smooth, but we are asking you that, we're telling you rather, that at the end of the tunnel, victory will be ours." End of quote. Exactly what Godswill Akpabio said yesterday at the Eagle Square in Abuja. And he says that we will never be intimidated. And one would wonder who exactly is intimidating the PDP. or Mr. President at this time. He went ahead to say, you, Mr. President, are like David in the Bible. You're fighting all the wars today so that the future president in Nigeria will have peace. Members of both houses of the National Assembly, both the lower and the higher chambers, were also led by the Senate President David Mark to that particular rally. It was indeed very, very jam-packed with a who is who in the People's Democratic Party. Now, we're also made to know that this particular rally was also broadcast in several other nations of the world as Mr. President kickstart his campaign ahead of 2015. Quite a number of other things happened yesterday. We're just going to take a short break now, and when we come back, we'll let you in into other stories. Stick around and don't go away.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on Core TV News.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Glad to have you join us on another edition of The Political Arena,
The most detailed and incisive political show.
If you are a sitting governor and the opposition is able to stomach structure against you, that means you are wicked to the people.
Give me 20 minutes to move or they will shoot me.
He has no chance for survival. If he likes himself, this is the best time to get out before it perishes.
The PDP as a ruling party has failed.
So anybody who thinks that government will fold his hands and allow miscreants to take over the streets of our own state and cause havoc is deceiving himself.
the good, bad, ugly, and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on Core TV News.
Nigerians encourage corruption besides doing first off the punch newspaper. America's Nigerian government forum calls for Okonjo Iweala's resignation. Page 2 of the Punch newspaper. The Dailies, every day on Core TV News.
Core TV News, expanding your view. You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. It's Core Digest Wednesday, exclusive to Core TV News, and thank you very much for joining us again. Okay, it's former now that Mr. President is running again in 2015, respective of the insinuations here and there. But in a swift reaction to what transpired yesterday at the Eagle Square, of course you expect the APC to react to this. The All Progressives Congress has described as insensitive and callous the decision of President Jonathan to declare second term ambition after about 46 pupils were killed and about 80 were injured in a suicide bombing in Potiskum, Yobe State. In his own words, the National Publicity Secretary says Mr. President rather, was dancing on the grave of these children. Well, let's just quickly do some core digest of these issues before we go on the show. I'm joined now by Austin Oweze, who is a social commentator, is also a political affairs analyst, and I'm just being told that apart from being a lecturer at the Pan-Atlantic University, is also running for governorship in Ebonyi State under the platform of the Social Democratic Party. I hope you know that you'll pay Core TV News for that.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Well, how do you react to all of these? I mean, Mr. President dancing on the grave of school children sounds so grave, but what are your thoughts along that line?
Well, one thing is that politics, we have to do what we have to do irrespective of what's going on. And the action of the president, I don't see anything wrong by what he has done because there's a timetable by INEC. And one thing you have to understand is that there are the forces against this nation, and they are all working hard. It's all about struggle for power. Everything is about politics. Okay? APC's reaction, they're supposed to react. They are right in their reaction because it's all politics, to see how they can swing the people to their own side. Okay? But there's a timetable. This is a festival of politics and campaign and all that. So it is the right thing, and I don't think that there's anything wrong. The president, irrespective of the fact that some people, the terrorists are acting. And if you understand how the terrorists, their modus operandi, you will know that they're always looking for headlines, just to distract. Even if he doesn't declare today, anytime he wants to declare, something must happen.
But does it baffle you at all that this is not the first time that a similar thing will be happening?
Yes.
Before a particular rally in Kano, there
yes.
was a Yaya bomb blast.
Yes, just to distract. So you know that. And there's something that Margaret Thatcher, the late former Prime Minister of Britain, said in 1989. She said that the worst thing that Britain could do is to allow the terrorists to occupy the space that they're supposed to occupy, and also to hand over the media space to them. Because that's what they want. And we should not allow them.
But how do we now draw the line between reporting what actually happens and then doing PR for Boko Haram?
No, you see, there was something that happened in Britain some time ago, even in the US. Before anybody could, they had cleaned up the place and all that. Even in Lagos State, it happens like that. It happens. The governor personally will call whoever to make sure that they clean up so that people will have confidence they will not live under fear in Lagos, so that economic activities can go on. And the media have a responsibility to even manage information that they have for the sake of the nation, for the interest of the national interests. And, and because of some section of the media that have been partisan or supporting the opposition and all that, they would just, not throw the national interest to the winds. And it's not so.
No, are you saying that
even in Israel,
for the sake of national interest,
yes,
stories like this should not even
stories. There are some stories. There are some stories that the media is like giving the terrorists. If the terrorist cough, they'll carry it, because this is what they want. We should not sell out our airspace, our media space, to these terrorists.
What happens then if there are feelings in some quarters, genuine feelings, so to speak, that probably the government is not doing enough.
What do you, if you were the government? I'm not a supporter of government. They have their own lapses, no doubt. I'm not saying there should be, but this is an international thing. It's not just a local event. If you understand what is going on with this, even Boko Haram and the insurgency, you know that it is not just Nigeria. There's international conspiracy. Again, we need to widen our scope to look at what is the motivation behind these people. And you find that even for the fact that Nigeria did not sign a law against gay marriage, it's working against Nigeria. The arms that were supposed to purchase that they embarrassed Nigeria in South Africa, it's all part of it. The conspiracy against, international conspiracy against Nigeria. And don't forget that the international community also predicted, said that by 2015 Nigeria is going to split. You want them to, the prophecy not to come true? So there's just international conspiracy against Nigeria, and we need to know that, and not just sit down and feel that everything is about the president. No.
But at this point in time, some will say that everything rises and falls on leadership. One of the greatest challenges of Nigeria at this particular time is security,
yes,
or insecurity, so to speak.
Yes.
Would it be wrong on the side of the people, the citizenry, to ask for more?
No. You see, each time we talk about this security thing, there's always an example I usually give to show that the responsibility, number one responsibility of the government, is to make sure that lives and properties are protected. There was a story I usually tell that a woman went to the king to demand for the return of her properties that were stolen when she was in the night, when she was asleep. And the king said to her, "I'm not a thief. I didn't steal your stuff." He said, "Yes, but you're my king. While I'm sleeping, because you're my king, you're supposed to be awake to watch over me." So the king ordered his people to replace, for the fact that he did not provide security, to replace those things. And that's the role of government. And what is the role of the citizen? The loyalty is the most important function of the citizen. Loyalty to the leadership is number one function, the most important function of the citizens. You must be loyal to your people, to your leaders, irrespective of who they are. There's more civilized ways of going about your destiny. Address issues.
Would you agree that it's rather quite difficult in this climb to be loyal to leadership?
Yes, because of what? Everybody's struggling to get power. Now you get into power. You discover that it's not as you think. You even do worse than the people that you try to kick out. It's not only Nigeria, but Africa. We have not evolved. We don't understand the world. We are not groomed to govern even ourselves.
Let's touch quickly on the re-election speech of Mr. President at the Eagle Square yesterday. Let me start by asking if you were surprised to see Mr. President declaring to run again in 2015.
I'm not surprised, for the fact that the signals the others were there.
Okay.
And my this thing is that while I even want him to run, is that so that we can, there's a change happening in Nigeria. And there is a shift, the changing power shift, change in power. And when there is any change happening, you find that change comes after crisis. Nigeria, after the Civil War, never remained the same. And this time around, Nigeria is changing for better. Because if what is happening, if it does not run, my children will not have a chance to run for any position in this country.
How do you mean?
If the president does not run, because if he yields to the intimidation of a certain part of the country, who feel that there is a birthright to rule, that we don't have any right. And you hear the comments they made at the National Assembly. Some of them from the certain part of the country, as if the country belongs belongs to them only. That you and I, we don't have the right to aspire for anything.
There are two conflicting school of thoughts here. That if you had 4 years to change a thing, and it's obviously not changed, then would you rather spend another 4 years trying again, or would you rather spend the next 4 years changing leadership and bringing in fresh alternatives to solving the problem?
4 years for one brand of Democrats for a developing economy like Nigeria. First of all, the system we run is faulty. It's faulty. I have always said that. For a developing economy, we don't need this kind of system. We need to evolve a system that will also take cognizance of the fact that our heritage, okay, rather than carry all the American system and put without recourse to our own heritage.
Okay.
So the system is wrong. 4 years is too short a time to achieve anything. I prefer a situation where you have a six-year tenure, no coming back for anything. So I prefer that such a situation so that you have time to accomplish some of these things that you want to accomplish.
I think that 4 years is not enough for any person to actually change anything in this part of the world.
No, it is not enough to really turn around things, okay? You need a 6-year tenure. Once you have a 6-year tenure, all the struggle for a second term and all that, we end.
Mr. President started yesterday,
yes,
sorry for cutting you, about the message of peace. And he said, I'm quoting him now, "My ambition to serve you is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. I remain committed to this principle of non-violence." Exactly what he said when he was running in 2011. And you also would agree with me that we saw quite a number of bloodshed, especially the aftermath of that election. How do you see all of these?
No, because the man knows that all these things going on is about him. But we should put in a bigger picture. Nigeria is a bigger picture. We should look, forget Jonathan. Look at Nigeria. If anything happens to Nigeria, we have no country to call our own. That is when it will dawn on them because of their selfish interest. We should put our selfish interest out behind the national interest.
Do you also agree that Boko Haram and all this terrorism acts are solely because of President Goodluck, Jonathan?
No, it's beyond him. Part of it is, because the Boko Haram sect, there are several sects. From a report I have, it said about 25, somebody did a study, it's about 25 or 26 sects. Now, there are some political sects that actually came up during and after 2011. But the mistake the Mr. President made, that those people that made those comments, that they will make the country ungovernable, he should have picked them up, or security agency would have picked them up for treason and tried. If he had done that, he could have minimized what was and there's some action which I cannot say
was
here.
That statement rarely made? Because there's been a lot of talk as regards somebody said if Jonathan didn't win.
Is there in the media?
Was he on tape? Was he documented?
Is there in the media quoted, and later on they began to deny it? Is there quoted and unguarded utterances? Okay, so you find that. And true to their threats, Nigeria has become ungovernable.
So
I'm not a supporter of all this, there are things that, even if you ask me, I would say that even the president has, even in the midst of all of these distractions, you find some of his men and some of the ministers and all that doing something in their ministries and stuff like that. Otherwise, the whole situation could have been worse.
Some other people would believe that even did Mr. President is one major reason, if at all it happens to be one reason, then for the sake of national security and peace that you talked about earlier, you should have bowed out.
No. You don't bow to terrorists or terrorist attacks. As a leader, you don't bow out. Another person comes, the same thing will happen. And that's not leadership. You must stand your ground. Because if it's about you, what is wrong with me? Don't I have a right to be a president? Must it be a section of the country? That's the question. And that's why all these things happening is just to distract. And said that the man, rather than talking about national issues, if not for the the selfish this and that people want that don't want. If you understand how the man came to power, and that is what I feel, disappointed when I listen to some opposition members. Selfish interests above national interests. It's all about struggle for power. When you hand over this power to them, they will even do worse. They will do worse.
It's all right. We're going to open the phone lines for you to participate. When you're calling this morning, endeavor to turn down the volume of your TV set so we can have a crystal clear communication and do away with those feedback distortions. We really appreciate your cooperation. Please go straight to the point. When your call is acknowledged, just go ahead to make your point. You have about 1 minute to do that. And please try as much as possible to be objective. Now, Mr. President took time yesterday to reel out his achievements in the past 4 or 5 years thereabout. And it touched on transportation, it touched on power sector reform, it touched on road and railway transportation, it touched about water sector. Sounds so good, and I don't even have words to describe it.
You're looking for the all these things I mentioned.
How do we match the reality of the average Nigerian with the supposed achievements that Mr. President read out yesterday?
Now, some of this, let me take power sector for example. Yes, some thinking gone into the power sector, and we may not see the result immediately. Okay. But in the next few years, when everything, the new owners of the PP arrangement take over and settle down, you will see the improvement in that sector. Okay. It's still work in progress. Okay? It's still work in progress. So that aspect we're yet to see, because we don't expect that just last year that all these things happened. About 2 years, less than 2 years. Okay. So you still have some time to see this kind of the planning happen. Now, that is one. Two, they truncated halfway the airports, Nigeria's airport. I know that you travel a lot and you have been to some international airports and you see how it is. And when you come down to even the biggest airport in Nigeria is even smaller than the local airport you have in some of these countries. And the renovation work, was started by Stella Odua. And then the enemies of this nation cried foul as if a heinous crime was committed that past ministers and government did not commit worse.
You feel that there was nothing wrong in purchasing armored vehicles, about 12 of them?
Even the governor bought more than that period, more expensive. Who talked about it? Who talked about it? I know of a governor that spent almost twice that kind of that amount to buy the same vehicles. Part of those vehicles they gave her to, and the other one collected about 2 or 3. Nobody talked about it because they know how to manage information. The PR people were working. So let's face that. But the thing is that what they have done is to throw the baby and the bathwater together. Nobody, even in past administration, when was the last time that that airport, you go to airport now, if you go now, work ceased since that lady left. Why not allow the lady to? Because those are benefiting, like Machiavellians. It's Machiavellian. Machiavelli said that those that benefit from the status quo will always do everything to resist a change. So that is what happened what happened in the aviation sector. Nothing has been done. You go to Sokoto Airport, that was under renovation and all that, it's still the same.
Beyond all of
Go to Kaduna, all of that. Okay? So there's still work in progress. But the point is that there are some people that are so myopic in their thinking, who always put there, because they are not the ones that started. They are not the ones doing this. They feel that, oh, why should the credit go to another person? Look at what happened in Lagos State. Have you seen any feud? When Tinubu left, Tinubu started some projects. Fashola came in and continued from there and added his own. Did you see any? Listen, has he even one day said that Tinubu didn't do anything? Has Tinubu one day accused Fashola of not doing anything? This is the way government should be run. When Yar'Adua, the late Yar'Adua took over from Obasanjo, some of Obasanjo's, listen, he cancelled. Something, I know that some companies, like Promacedo, these cowbell people, did what they did to set up so that they can begin to export products. When Yar'Adua came in, he cancelled that. Listen, do you know they lost that company and some other companies incurred? This is the point I'm saying. We should look at national interest. For the fact that somebody started a project that you did not start, when you take over, see the good in it, and then see how you can improve on it.
But let us bring this to the markets now. Nigeria also, in the course of Mr. President's administration, the economy was rebased, and then we're talking about being the largest economy in Africa. How exactly do we match this with the economic realities of the average Nigerian?
Yeah, well, the thing is that it's just for PR. Let me use that word, PR, okay? Nothing has changed. The economy is still the same. It's just that some part of the economy that were not included in this thing were now included. And there are still many more that have not been included, which by the time they rebase it again after some years, some sectors like the outsourcing, outsourcing sector, adding so much, about 1 or 2% to the economy. Nollywood was just included to be adding about 2% or 3%. I don't know, I've forgotten the figure. So some aspect, Nigeria's economy, by the time you look at all the different sectors, you find that, yes, the rebasing, but it has not changed anything. Well, the only thing is that it has given confidence for foreign direct, to attract foreign direct investment, that if you must come invest in Africa, you have to look at the biggest economy. And Nigeria's market should not be ignored.
I see.
So that is exactly what is going on. Okay, and you find that some companies are also, even before the rebasing, some business leaders in Europe and America got together and decided that the next destination, investment destination, will be Africa. And where in Africa? Nigeria.
I see.
So some Nigerians in diaspora that got wind of it are coming back to set up so that they can welcome and deal with these people when they come in.
That's all right.
Yes. Well, so that's just the point. So the rebasing has not affected me and you.
Just a minute. Yeah. Let's take this call from Olutuga. Hello, good morning.
Let's take this call from Olutuga. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Please, I just want to...
I'm afraid we lost that. When you call in and they're able to... Hello, are you there? Please, when you call in, turn down the volume of your TV set so we can get a crystal clear communication ongoing. Now, there's a little delay between what we say here in the studio and what you hear on your TV set. So when you call in, we'll advise that you mute your TV set and let's keep this conversation on telephone. We'd love to hear from you. The number is shown on your screen. Exactly. Just come up now and we'll love to hear from you. Good morning, Olutuga. Are you there?
Okay. Please, I just want to make some contribution to the discussion.
Go ahead, please.
So what I want to say concerning Jonathan declaring admission. So the gentleman there saying that this insurgence in the north is because of Jonathan. I just want to tell him that the insurgence going on in the north is beyond Jonathan. So this should be seen here. So this should be condemned by everybody in Nigeria. So if the gentleman is saying they are distracting the president, that's why the discussion is going on. So please, you should just forget about what he's saying there. So that's my contribution.
Olatuga, my guest did not say that the insurgency is solely because of Jonathan. He said it's partly because of Mr. President, and I'm sure that you got him wrong there. Let's just
because one thing is that I said that there are several sects in this Boko Haram thing. There's a political sect, there's a religious sect, but the original Boko Haram sect is in another kettle of fish. By the time we begin to discuss that, what Mohammed Yusuf, what led him to that kind of the insurgency when he started. And even what the media did not even capture, what Yar'Adua did, the late President Yar'Adua did, that fueled this insurgency more, okay, after the death of Mohammed Yusuf.
How exactly do we now fight this battle at one end, run politics on the other end, especially as we count down to 2015 general elections? Mr. President put to bed all odds and went all out yesterday to declare his intention. We're going to Adamawa now. MCL, get Adamawa Christian leaders. The Christian community in this particular state, I'm sure you must have heard that another major town has also been taken by Boko Haram yesterday. Now, the Christian community in Adamawa State have now called for the suspension of all political activities in the country to enable the federal government to concentrate on the fight against Boko Haram. Let's just take this call before we go to Adamawa. Hello, good morning, Ogbefon.
Yeah, good morning. I really thank God today that my phone came through today. I really thank God. And the gentleman there, I have some, will I say if I say it's a question, I don't know, because you can have hear from I think the last caller that called saying that Boko Haram issue that is saying that they are trying to distract the president or such. Now, he made comments of the blessed Dua, who are seeing that there will be no president like that, which I don't think for now that they will ever do for now. Because you discover that in the era of Yar'Adua, that is when Nigeria ever experienced a reverse in the issue of where that this so-called president now they are taking as if there is nothing like fuel. In the era of Yar'Adua, we discovered that that man was a fair, in short, in his administration, he comes out as a fair man. He never compromised anything. Now, number one, in the issue of fuel, he reduced that fuel. And the president we are having today, they are saying even during his reign, the fuel never scarce, even when it was reduced. That is number one. This question is for this man there. Now, number two, you discover that in Yar'Adua, the fairness, because of the fairness in Yar'Adua government, that was why you discovered that the place where you have election, that election was tumbled. You discovered that during this man government, they were able to return this ticket back to them. That is two. And this same man there now, this question is for you. Now, you discover again that in this government we are now, the number one man, I ask this question and I will continue to ask. This our president, we call president now, which is our president now, you discover that he's the one on the story. And if this one telling me, if he is driving a car, for instance, and there is a noise in the back of the car, is this man going to tell me that he himself will look to the noise in the back and cause accident? Is that what this man is saying? Or they're supposed to do things that is right? Because just make a comment there now that the president and some people have said that they will make this country ungovernable for the president. And now if there are people like that, what stop this president for doing it? You see, let me end up by saying, even the voters card that we are talking about today, do you know that till now, my wife have not been able to get his own voters card? Don't be surprised that even in Benin here, we don't even, if you go there, the numbers of people there are even more than the people that even registered before. So all these are just logic from these people. And this man there, I believe you should answer to this question I asked. I believe more people.
All right, just give him a minute to do that. Grateful. Thank you very much for your contribution. I believe you made your point there. Please quickly give him all the answers that he required.
Now, the voters card, for instance, and INEC, they have some challenges. You know, these things are not done in Nigeria, which is unfortunate. And I don't know what the fear is. All those things, they are creating jobs for people in other countries. I believe we have all it takes to do this thing in this country. But unfortunately, they took it out for fear of nothing, okay, of being compromised and stuff. So they have been disappointed bringing in the cards and all that. That's why all this wahala is going on.
You also talked about the idea that Mr. President lacks the ability to curtail this particular challenge. Instead of facing it headlong, he has excuses like some people already said that if I win, then governorship or governors will become unbearable for me. Don't you see some sense in the sense? Just a minute. I mean, don't take that call yet, please. Don't you see some sense in the fact that it rises and falls on leadership to take responsibility at this critical time?
Exactly. The buck stops at his desk, on his desk. Okay? I'm not excusing him. I'm not trying to exonerate him from all of this. He's the leader. If he feels that he cannot solve the problem, he should get out. By contesting, he feels that he can go ahead. By asking that the election should be suspended, means that there will be no election in 2015. That he should just go on, that Nigeria is in a state of emergency, there's no need for elections. Now, the same people that are saying they don't know the implication of this, or they're calling to suspend the whole process going on.
Let's hear them out in Adamawa. Let's just quickly take this sound from Adamawa. The Christian leaders say activities of the Boko Haram group suggest a deliberate attempt to annihilate Christians, particularly in Adamawa and other states in the northeast. And now they are calling for suspension of all political activities in the country to enable the federal government to concentrate on the fight against Boko Haram. Let's take this and we'll be back with it.
Christian escapists from the troubled areas reveal that Christian parents and brothers are slaughtered in the presence of their wives and wives because they profess the Christian faith, while all the existing churches in the captured territories have been completely destroyed by the Islamic insurgents. We reject in strong terms insinuations from certain quarters that the insurgents are a mere bunch of trigger-happy miscreants whose intentions are to settle certain scores with the government, owing to the Tory revelations of attacks mostly targeted against Christians. We are therefore tempted by these circumstances to believe that the whole onslaught is a deliberate attempt to exterminate Christians in the captured region. We strongly recommend the total suspension of all political activities in Nigeria to allow the federal government face squarely and sincerely the devastating reality of Boko Haram activities in the northeast, particularly in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states, which is threatening the corporate existence of the Nigerian state.
You heard him.
Yes.
Quite a recommendation. Is it feasible at this time?
Well, it's, I believe that political activities can go on and the insurgency issue can also be dealt with at the same time. You know, because one, you need to really secure the power that you have to be able to lead the people. Without this election, and that's the implication of this. They said no elections. For how long? Okay. That means the political calendar will also be affected. Yes, that's what it means. So by the time you weigh all this, then you go ahead.
Well, do you see, for instance...
Even in Ukraine, Ukraine, election is going on. Meanwhile, there's rebels are still fighting. And somebody made a suggestion recently that maybe these people should not be called insurgents. Maybe they should not be called, they should be called like miscreant or rebels. Since they have started taking territories, we have to begin to call them rebels and then deal with them as rebels.
But how feasible, even if we go ahead with the elections as the way it is, how feasible are elections, is election rather, in these 3 northeastern states? For instance, in Yobe, the governor already shut down schools in Potiskum. Do you see a possibility of people gathering together for the sake of election under the circumstances?
Now, in the first place, Mr. President made a mistake by declaring partial emergency rule. The governors should have been taken out and the military man handed over the vessel to run the state if a total emergency rule was declared in those states. Maybe, just maybe, they would have been able to deal with some of these things. The governors out there, you know, they're just like a housewife who has no job.
Let me hold you for a minute. Good morning, Peter.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. I want to speak to the gentleman sitting before you there.
My name is Austin. Where's the Dr. Austin?
Yeah, his comment is to what his comment. Number one, he talks about somebody saying that Nigeria should be ungovernable. Yes, because when things are not working right, everybody has his own opinion to express his mind. He's not particularly talking about making Nigeria in a way that he is going. Take, for instance, when the militants in Niger Delta, when it happened during the Yar'Adua's time, Yar'Adua visited Niger Delta and set up a committee. All this while that the insurgency is happening in the north, our president has not deemed it fit to visit. Even the people agitating for the bring back our girls, being barricaded to see the president. Is that a good omen? He has now declared for 2015, all the things he has been saying are the things that are facing him. Why are we shielding the president? Nobody is against him, but the reality on ground speaks about his actions and attitudes. He's our president. We elected him there. I am from Niger Delta, but I'm not supporting the loopholes going on. So your gentleman in the studio should please tell Nigerians the truth and let us face the fact facing us in Nigeria, that our presidency should have the will mind the insurgents based on his promises. There is a will mind he has to adopt to stop the insurgents. You have just shown a telecast now concerning the Adamawa people complaining about suspending the electoral whatever going on because of the massacres, the killings. He should touch the president. They should give him a good advice on what to do to end this.
I believe that you made your point there. Thank you very much for your contribution. Calling from Peter, thank you very much for calling in on Core Digest West. My guest on the show this morning is Dr. Austin Oweze. So you guys should stop calling him gentleman. He is a social commentator and of course is also a governorship aspirant under the platform of Social Democratic Party in Ebonyi State. Well, let's move ahead a little bit from all of this because it looks as if you touched somewhere in the heart of the people when you made mention of President Yar'Adua and you compared it with the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan.
No, I didn't really compare. Some things that he started, okay? This insurgency, there was some, he was ill-advised, some actions that he took in dealing with this insurgency, which Jonathan inherited. Okay, talking about the Niger Delta issue, there are different things, okay? These people are killing human beings. They're not even afraid to die, okay? And the Niger Delta people were destroying oil pipelines just to get the attention of the government, okay? And kidnappings and stuff like that. Very rarely that they killed somebody. But this one, they delight in shedding innocent blood. And they should not forget that there's God, though, you know, in all of this. You know, just to borrow from Madam Patience, the president's wife. But the point is that Nigerians should be remove sentiment in all of this.
Let's take this call.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Hello?
Go ahead with the contribution.
Hello, hello. Are you listening to me, the interviewer? Hello?
Yes, I am. Go ahead with the contribution.
The man sitting down there is a lecturer. He has no experience about this country. If he watched the prelude to the Civil War, and what happened during Yar'Adua and the Obasanjo's era when the insurgents started, and what they did to lead it to the boss. The man talking there does not, he wants to be a governor in Eboyi. He doesn't know this country. He has no experience. Intelligence. What has happened through time? All the crises this country has happened that has taken place between Zaria, Kaduna, Kano. That man has no experience. What is the level of military intelligence have the countries undertaken to monitor people who have gone on pilgrimage in Pakistan and all those places where they had their indoctrination? All the Tasukis who are there as the military administration, present president, what are they doing? They are failing. They don't know what is called military intelligence. They just want to collect money. I'm talking from worry. That is all. They should sit down. The president must sit down, remove those type of characters from his cabinet. Tell him the truth.
Sirim.
Sit down and plan. Have a foresight.
Your time just expired now.
I'm ashamed I voted.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Good to hear from you. Well, I think I have to give you some time to react to all of these counter accusations and accusations against you and your personality. Is it true that you don't have an experience to be the governor of Eboyi State? Maybe I should
I don't know what he means by that. But the point is that I understand, having been around, I'm a well-educated person in the sense that I have been learned from several countries and what is going on and what it takes to lead the people and what the role of the followership, the citizens are, and then and all of that. So I don't know where he's talking about. Talking about the Civil War, you know, talking about the Civil. I experienced the Civil War. I don't know how old he is, you know, but I know, you know, what happened during the Civil War and what led to the Civil War, and which is what we are trying to prevent. I mentioned earlier that when a nation wants to change, there's always crisis. The Civil War was a Nigeria shifting, and after the Civil War, Nigeria never remained the same. And after this Boko Haram issue, Nigeria will never remain the same. Okay? So, and I mentioned earlier...
the same for better, right?
For better.
Okay.
Okay? Some of the things that could not be corrected as a result of the Civil War, this is an opportunity. And unfortunately, the National Conference, you know, could not really take care of some
Let's just take this call.
Yeah.
I understand you want to leave by 10. It's few minutes to, I believe 10 is just around the corner now.
No problem.
Would you still stay with us for a while? Yeah. It's all right. Let's take this call from Emmanuel. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Please go ahead.
Okay. You see what? Good morning. My comment is this. So, those that are comparing what is happening in the north to Niger Delta doesn't know what is happening. Niger Delta is a different issue. What is happening in the north is a different issue. During the time of Niger Delta, they were fighting for resource control. During the time, this kind of insurgency in the north, what they are is just like what is happening in Afghanistan, Iraq, everywhere. I see it. They have no. The problem we have in Nigeria is Hausa and Fulani. Hausa and Fulani doesn't see any other part of Nigeria as anything. They just consider themselves. This insurgency in Nigeria cannot stop, even if Jonathan is not in power. But the worst thing that will happen to this country is for Jonathan to leave power. No government will pay salary. There will be total hostility in the Niger Delta. This is the first time for a Niger man to come as a president. They want him to live there. The Hausa and Fulani have ruled this Nigeria for 30-something years. All what is happening is pure politics. People that are talking nonsense, they are from Niger Delta, they don't know what they are saying. During the time of Yar'Adua, I never visited any creek in the Niger Delta where there is fight. All state capital were peaceful. The real fight is in the creek, in the sea, and nobody goes there.
It's all right.
They fought soldiers bomber to bomber with heavy ammunition. Yar'Adua never go there. What they are saying is complete nonsense. This man that is talking with you there knows what he's saying.
All right, thank you very much, Emmanuel. I believe you made your point there. At least for the first time, I saw you nodding to what Emmanuel was saying. But I totally disagree with Emmanuel to have mentioned a particular tribe being responsible for what is happening in Nigeria. It is wrong. This is a national platform, and we have to be very careful of the utterances that we make. We will indulge you to be very, very objective when you contribute on this program, because whatever you say are seeds, and you have to also know that we are working towards national development, not otherwise, on this platform. Thank you very much for your understanding. Well, let's begin to wrap this up now.
Yeah,
Mr. President.
It was actually Jonathan, when he was vice president, that went down to the creeks.
Okay, because he's from there.
Yes. Now, people are saying, why is Nomadi Sambo staying in Abuja instead of going to talk to these people? Relocate to that Jonathan did when he was vice president. You know, so that's what some section of Nigerians are saying. Okay, so the point is that this nation, people think, and you know, the media, you owe Nigerians a whole lot of responsibility to make sure that they understand what is going on, because they just hear something and say, okay, they make their own conclusions and judgments without really understanding, putting everything in context. Okay, so it's a fact that yes, the insurgency happening now is different from what happened in Niger Delta. Okay, it's different. So, right. But the point again is that should we fold our hands, like back to Adamawa you mentioned earlier? Okay, should we suspend everything? And because of this insurgency, if you suspend everything, they have won. You are telling them they have won because that's what they want to achieve.
That's all right. Let's take this call from Rotimi. Good morning, Rotimi.
Hello, good morning.
Good to have you join us. How are you today?
Yes, we actually need to the responsibility of the president of the nation. The man beside you is like doesn't know what the responsibility of the president of the nation is. He's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Is the one that is in charge of the security of every citizen of a nation. We saw what Obama did to Osama bin Laden. How Obama went to another state to pick Osama bin Laden and destroy him. So it is the responsibility of the president of this nation to secure us. He is in charge of the armed forces. We are not in charge of the armed forces. I'm not in government. You are not in government. You can't go to the government and dictate to the chief of army staff to go to any other. It is the responsibility of the president to go there. This man is because he's still working, he's still eating, he's still living fine, he's still working in the streets of Lagos, going to Enugu, going to everywhere, living fine. If he's in Nasarawa, if he's in Jobe, he can't be saying what he's saying. He doesn't know the responsibility of the president. I did not expect the president to say he wants to declare when citizens of the country, about 50 of them died a day before he declared. If those people were his children, would you say he wants to declare? I really pray that God will save this country.
Rotimi, thank you very much for your contribution. Just before you react to that, it's not only Rotimi that feels so bad about Mr. President declaring a day after the Potiskum blast. APC is also already termed it Mr. President dancing on the grave of the school children. But also, we also caught up with a former minister who also had something to say in that regards. And we're just going to play you that sound now. And we'll be back with more on the Core Digest Wednesday. Stick around with us. Don't go away.
It's unfortunate. I do not see why with Nigerians being killed, you see that it happens every now and then, you should still have a situation where people are more interested in 2015 than Nigerians who are being killed every day. I do not think the timing of that declaration is appropriate at all. It's wrong. What we would advise His Excellency to do is to be more interested, you see, in securing this country, the lives and properties of the people. We have never had it so bad. The lives and properties of the people.
Akiolu Jimmy, former Minister of Justice there, also bothered about what transpired yesterday. I know you already spoke about it.
Yeah, but again, if you made a comment, each time the president wants to do something, something will happen. Even if you say, okay, Mr. President, don't declare, he will shift it to December 25th. Either same day or the day before, something will also happen.
Are you in any way insinuating that the opposition knows about this?
Of course. They know that. Why is it that? Watch out the pattern. There's a pattern. And we should not allow the terrorists to give them headlines. That's the point I'm making.
Let's take this call from Larry. Good morning. How are you today?
Hello. The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. What happened in Niger Delta? The president, President Yar'Adua, sent his vice that he go there to meet with those militants. Without the clarification of the president, Jonathan cannot go there to meet. The president has set the platform for him to meet the militants. And he said that what is happening in Niger Delta is different from what is happening in the north. Of course, every president will face one challenge or the other. So the dimension that we use, it might be similar, but it will be different. If you have somebody that is ready to help the people, the commander-in-chief has the responsibility of solving the problem in the northeast. And a lot of people normally view as a southern president. It is wrong. It is the president over the whole nation. Whenever you have crisis in any part of the country, especially crises that deal with military, it's only one man who is the commander-in-chief that can solve the problem. No any other person. And he was talking about that some people may want to say they want to make Nigeria ungovernable. It was those people that said it, they were in PDP. And the truth of the matter is that they were in PDP. And the president never acted. And he normally gives an excuse to justify failure. A student that doesn't perform very well, we always give an excuse that maybe my teacher did not see me well, maybe some people are sabotaging their effort, maybe because they don't want me to rule, maybe because they don't want me to come from a second time. These are all excuses. The problem we have is the presidency. It's not ready to solve the problem.
It's all right.
That is the truth. And if you look at the map, you will know that he's speaking from the ethnic dimension. He's not speaking the truth. He knows from the deepest part of his heart that he's not telling Nigeria the truth.
How close is Ebonyi to Bayelsa?
Very far.
Very far.
From here to Lagos. From Lagos to...
Just before you go, let's just quickly review the papers together. Just in case you've not seen the paper today, we have The Punch, The Guardian, and The Nation for review. Let's kickstart with The Punch. PDP gathers to Jonathan. Road to 2015 will be rough. That's on page 2 of The Punch. And the writers, as president declares, vows to end graft, terrorism, is dancing on the grave of bombed pupils. That's what APC said on the front page of the Punch. Now, INEC makes a U-turn on 30,000 new polling units with quite a number of criticisms, counter allegations here and there. Looks as if INEC is bowing out. You get details on page 20 of the Punch. Ekiti Assembly rejects Fayoshe's commissioners. Chairman list. That's on page 11. And Fashola's aide, APC governor aspirant, arraigned for murder. You get details on pages 4 and 5. External reserves dropped by $1.5 billion in 3 weeks. Page 42. The front page picture shows Mr. President dancing, I guess. Is it dancing? Well, I can see his leg up and his hands up at the Eagle Square, quite hearty. And for the first time in a long time, I think that Mr. President also did well in his presentation of the speech. But you heard him say, as President declares, vow to end graft terrorism. Do you think that Mr. President, and indeed the presidency, has proven over time in such a way to earn the trust of Nigerians? Because you recall what happened with the ceasefire deal. The CDS came up and said, I have ordered my men to stand down. There's an ongoing deal between us and the Boko Haram. And then the next phases of events proved otherwise.
I think the major challenge that the president has, or the government has, is the trust, what I call trust deficiency syndrome. The citizens don't trust the leaders, and leaders don't even consider it. You know, sometimes you have a feeling that they don't want even the citizens to be alive. Okay, but if they're not alive, who are you going to govern? So there's a trust deficiency in between the governed and the government. So that's what is happening now. When there is a lack of trust, there is nothing that the government will say or do, you know, that will mean that they will take.
Let's just quickly take this call. Good morning, Ibrahim from Abuja. How are you today?
Yes, hello. Good morning, Call TV.
Good morning.
Good morning, presenter.
Good morning, Ibrahim.
Yes, how are you, sir? Good.
Terrific.
Sir, I think with all due respect, your guest here, this morning guest is not saying the truth. He's not looking at the matter that is this insurgency holistically. Had it been he's from the northeast part of the country, more especially the Adamawa, he wouldn't have been there making that kind of uncomplimentary issues. I mean, I agree that he's a social commentator, but I doubt if he has an in-depth knowledge of what is happening in this country. We have ministers from the northeast, like the Boni Haruna, Women Affairs Minister. The Chief of Defense is also from. They are all from the same area as in Mubi, Michigan, and then you understand. These people are, in fact, the body has been, you know, the insurgency has been overrun. I mean, has overrun his territory. I mean, his hometown. And up to now, these people have not come out to make any. I mean, yes, I agree that they are serving the government. The government employed them. But, sir, with all due respect, this insurgency of Athens has nothing to do whether Muslim, whether Christian. I am from that area. I did my primary school, secondary school in that community. We've never seen ourselves whether you are Muslim or whether you are Christian. It's not so. I have brothers that are Muslims, they have Christians. We've never had this kind of a problem. So that man sitting there, if he is vast enough, he knows so much about it, so he ought to have gone to Adamawa State. Let him go and see what is happening. It's not enough to come, to be on national, TV and then making unnecessary or uncomplimentary.
It's all right, Ibrahim.
Situation here.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Good to hear from you today. We're just going to take a commercial break now, and when we come back, I'll allow you to answer Ibrahim on that particular issue. Stick around, don't go away.